Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. Today's show is brought to you by RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village. The award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them at 1-800-364-9007. Find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com. HSV Inside Out is also brought to you by Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Ike has qualified for State Farm's President's Club, Chairman's Circle, and Hot Springs Village Insurance Agent of the Year. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there. Let's walk a trail, shall we? Well, okay, it's not technically a trail. We are on a street. Location? Maybe you can figure it out, maybe not. It won't matter. I'm going to tell you that I'm just spitballing here. There could be easily hundreds of locations like this. Maybe not, but I can promise you there are dozens and dozens of locations like this. We are in a rather uninhabited area of the village. We are walking on an asphalt street, and we're going to make a loop, and I'm just going to take you along for the ride here. The walk. Inside the village, there are over 30 miles of quote unquote, technically, trails, but there are many, many more miles of trails that you can create on your own inside the village. And if you are like us, if you enjoy getting out and walking and seeing nature, would highly, highly recommend that you just venture out and scout some locations where there may be very few houses, if any. I mean, keep in mind there are over 500 miles of paved roads inside the village, and we are in an area where we used to frequently rent an Airbnb. And when we first went to this place, we realized, okay, this is by far the most secluded place that we've ever stayed inside the village. And it was great and wonderful, and we had a lovely experience. As a resident inside the village, I will tell you that there's a downside. And the downside, I will tell you, is infrastructure related. The place where we stayed was perfectly lovely and fine. It was not difficult to get to. You could go down roads, like this road, and you wouldn't see any houses. And you're like, okay, are we in the right place? Can't imagine doing this without GPS, by the way. But thanks to GPS, we were able to pull right in. Now, this particular host, Airbnb host, is very upfront and about things like internet speed. Okay, well, the internet speed, it ain't great, but it's perfectly doable. It's not like you can't watch television. But if you were going to stay in his place and you were going to need to do any kind of remote work, it'd probably be kind of sketchy. So that's what I mean by infrastructure. I cannot speak with firsthand knowledge, things like, if a water main broke, but I can surmise that given the fact that you might be one of the very few houses in an area, I would tend to believe that you probably aren't going to get top priority over a rather congested or a more congested neighborhood. Just food for thought. But man, when it comes to getting out and walking and enjoying the nature, on this particular December morning, you can tell the skies are blue, 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 and it's a perfectly lovely walk. Now, one of the great things that we enjoy about this is you can find all kinds of different areas inside the village. If you want a lot of hilly kind of terrain, you can find that. We didn't. Sometime up ahead here, we'll be going up a hill and we'll be going down a hill. Having just had my left knee scoped, wasn't really wanting to venture out and overdo it too terribly much. We're going to take a hike here that is going to be about 1.33 miles, but I will tell you that it could easily be double that, quadruple that. There are a bunch of loops and places where you can walk. You'll find all kinds of areas like this inside the village. Now, if you're a first-time visitor, or if you're coming back for a second or third time, whether you want to venture out and find a place like this, that's your call. But if you enjoy getting out and walking like we do, highly worth it. Highly, highly, highly worth it. Now, thanks to our being a guest with this Airbnb host, this was our introduction to this place. Otherwise, I can tell you, I would have never found it. Don't think I would have ever found it. And there are gems like this all through the village. So you can look up here and you can see the hill. And yeah, we're not going to walk up the hill through these trees, but this road that we're on, sometime up ahead, we're going to hang a right and we'll be walking up kind of that hill. It may look like we're on an incline right now. We're really not. It's pretty flat here, but there's pretty steep hills to one side. There's a creek, a ravine that you can make out. So we're kind of down in a flat spot. One of the things about this time of year and getting out and walking is because the foliage is, well, there's not much of it. You can see things that otherwise you couldn't see. Got my camera telescoped up so you can kind of get a higher view of things. Rhonda hasn't had her knee scoped, so she can walk faster than me right now. Don't worry. Won't last. I'll catch up. This looks very, very different. Now we've hung a right, and now we're walking uphill. I don't have knee trouble. I've never had knee trouble, but I can certainly now sympathize with those people who've had chronic knee problems. Going uphill, not problematic. I'm waiting until I get to the top because going down, it ain't so easy. Going down is way tougher on the knees than going up. You can see the shadow of my camera elevated on this long pole, this telescoping pole. We enjoy this time of year. It's just a completely different view. When all of these trees are in bloom and all of the foliage is out, I love that too. It's just a very different look. I mean, it's a completely different look. The only time we're going to leave the road is toward the end of this walk. I'm going to show you a creek. And there are all kinds of these little creeks all throughout the village too that a person can go and investigate. I'll venture off 10, maybe 20 feet. But otherwise, we don't ever leave asphalt. Now, because these roads are not heavily traveled, you see pine needles and some dirt and things on the road. But it's perfectly comfortable walk. You're not bushwhacking your way through the wilderness or anything like that. And even though it's winter-ish, even in the summer, not as many critters, little bugs and stuff to worry about. Yeah, you still should spray. Absolutely. You should protect yourself against ticks and other insects inside the village. On these days in the fall and winter, when the clouds have lifted and the sky is mostly clear, I love the deep blue sky in the fall and winter. And you can see, because of the plethora of pine trees, still an awful lot of green. One of the things that we continue to be kind of fascinated with is the moss, some of the ground cover that grows like on rocks and it can grow on asphalt. It's like, you don't see that in the part of Texas where we're from. Now, I can tell you that, I don't know, this particular area has experienced some logging. You're going to see some shots of trees that are down, and you'll see the crowns of pine trees. And I can't attest to what's going on here. I've not researched it, but I can tell you that the place, yeah, it looked way better. It looked way better before. Loggers or somebody. I mean, something's happened to this particular area. And the trees are cut. So we're not talking about storm damage here. It's definitely seen some logging activity. It's still beautiful. It's not as beautiful as it was a year ago, but it'll come back. I do hope that they'll clean this area up a little bit. I have heard that some people have reported this area to the POA, questioning some of the damage done by the logging companies. Now, for those of you outside the village, various logging companies do get contracted, and they might be contracted. We had the tornado a year ago, and they might be contracted to come and do some cleanup for things like that. They might be contracted if there are diseased trees and to take things out. They might be contracted for some thinning purposes. We're not forestry experts here, but based on what the POA has released, there are some circumstances like that the POA, or the Property Owners Association, would hire or contract out some logging companies. I suspect that's what's happened here, but I can tell you they left a big mess behind. But I still love it. you're a lover of big trees, this is your place. There are so many places like this that you can investigate, and I don't know how long it would take you to find them all. You would have to be way more systematic about it than we are. We just kind of get out and venture, and if something catches our eye, if we're running an errand and there's some street that catches our eye, we'll make it a point to kind of go down that road and just kind of check it out. But I can tell you that there are all kinds of opportunities like this to get out and walk. We're not going to encounter anybody. We simply pulled over, got our car out of the way so that if anybody did come by, they could easily pass. We wouldn't block the street. But we didn't see a soul. We didn't see a car. We didn't see a person. And that has been the case almost 100% of the time when we've come out to this particular area. And there are many, many, many of these areas. So don't just look at the map of from the POA of the specific trails and think, well, yeah, it's great and wonderful, but we could get bored with those, within a year or two. Yeah, not so much. Not so much, because there's all kinds of places that you can go and enjoy a good walk. I'll turn the audio on now so that you can hear this bubbling stream as I traipse through these leaves. Just one of these great little brooks. It's great. And we're coming back to the car now. Yeah, it took us longer. I edited it so you wouldn't be bored. Randy Cantrell, Hot Springs Village, Inside Out. Thanks for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com.